Good morning, ladies. Hope you're all having a wonderful week. It is Friday morning. I just have to laugh and start today off. Today, we're going to be talking about the six-figure leads challenge and how to find your first six speakers. So yesterday we talked about laying out, mapping out your who, your what, your where, when, why. And today we're going to talk about, well, how do you find those six speakers for your first event to collaborate with? But I wanted to start off today with a true ambitious mom moment, because I feel like we don't talk about this enough in the online space. But like, I got out of the shower 3 minutes ago and I was putting on my eye cream. You know, you're supposed to dab it so gently with this one. And then I was like, I don't have time for this. And I'm like, how many other moms do this? It's like, oh, I have 4 minutes left till my first call of the day. Wait, did I eat yet? Like, there's no chance I was doing hair and makeup today. So it is what it is. Life gets crazy, but you show up anyways and do the work. And so I just wanted to start off by saying, if you're an ambitious mom like me and you have so much stuff going on in your life, I totally get it. 4 kids is no joke. I'm going to write an email to you guys about this today. Anyways, okay. So what we're talking about this whole challenge is, if you want six-figure sales, which a lot of you are telling me you do, anybody who's looking to hit $8,000 to $10,000 months consistently, you're talking about six-figure sales, right? So if you want six-figure sales, you have to start with six-figure leads. It's the missing link that most people overlook. So they're really good at getting their messaging or their offers and help with that. And they're really good at, okay, well, what do I do once I actually convert people and enroll people, and how do I deliver? You're really good at what you do. But the middle part of pulling people, the right audience in, seems to be a huge gap for most of you. So just like yesterday, if you feel like that is somewhere where you need help, drop the word authority in the comments or DM me the word authority. I can help. So today, what we're going to talk about is, where do we find people to collaborate with, right? So when you're looking at hosting your first collaborative event, that kind of the tech side maybe scares you a little bit, but some of you it doesn't. I mean, I just jump right in and figure things out. I've always been that kind of person, and maybe you are too. But you keep it super simple, and then it doesn't have to be overwhelming. And then on the other side, it's like, okay, well, where would I even find the people to collaborate with? So today we're going to talk about that. So I'm going to spend the next 25 minutes, because I've been super good this week about keeping it to half an hour, which was my goal. And we're going to talk a little bit about how I've found speakers. I love talking about the ripple effect that happens once you find people to collaborate with. I touched on this yesterday, but once you have enough collaborative events under your belt that you've hosted yourself, other people start to invite you to theirs, and you start to show up on other people's podcasts and other people's live streams and in other people's Facebook groups, or on other people's summits or other people's collaborative events or podcast series or whatever. So there's so much that happens once you start building that momentum yourself. I had one of my one-on-one clients reached out last night and said, hey, this is the first time this has happened. You know, she's already hosted 2 virtual events, like collaborative. And she's got another one coming up. She's filling for March, and then she has other ones planned for the rest of the year. And she's like, yesterday, someone reached out to me and was like, hey, I was just wondering if you might consider me to be a speaker on your summit. So it's cool, because it didn't take her that long, and people are already noticing that she's starting to show up as an authority in her space. And I think that you can build an audience 100 different ways, but to build an audience with authority, which is what I'm going to talk about, is you automatically get some street cred when you are associating with a certain group of people, because they're inviting their audiences and you are being kind of interviewed in a sense. You know, the way you host, the way you present yourself, the way you kind of interject little comments and information, people get to know you, like you, trust you quickly. So it's really important that you select the right speakers to collaborate with, who are very much in that same sense of let's collaborate, not compete. There's more than enough people to go around. It's all about finding the right clients for you, as opposed to like, oh, this is my audience, I built it, you can't have it. Like that, there's no room for any of that with the women that I work with. And that's what I really want for you too. So if you feel like you can crush it if you just had consistent clients, then this is going to be the right way for you to go. Because again, we talked about this the first day. It's like, ambitious moms don't have time to be posting on social media 3 times a day, to be hanging out all day long in Facebook groups, to be cold DMing, to pitch people. It's exhausting, and it's not sustainable for us, because we have to work smarter, not harder. We have other things to do. So welcome to day 3. This is my Kickstarter off the top of the morning. Okay, so first, yesterday we talked about finding your topic, and you don't have to necessarily have your perfect title or your perfect tagline yet for your next event, but figuring out what topics you would like to cover is really important. Then you have to put a couple of dates to them, because obviously you need to know, when it's happening, because you're going to start inviting people to speak at them. And then the third thing you wanted to lay out yesterday was, okay, well, where is this happening? What's it going to look like? So is it a live event? Is it pre-recorded? Is it going to be on Zoom? Are they half-hour interviews? You need to be able to tell someone that. And I actually have a script for my clients that I give them where it lays out exactly what you would want to say in a text message reach out or in an email reach out, so that you kind of have I always say you have to have the structure or framework in place, and then you change it to be your voice, your style, your personality. And then ultimately what you want to do when you're reaching out is get a kind of feel for that person and see if they're interested in that topic, first of all, if that date's going to work for them. And then also, very, very important, are they okay with the promo requirements? Because if you have a bunch of speakers coming and only one of them or two of them promote it to their audience, that's not fair if nobody else promotes to the two that are promoting. So you have to get that commitment up front. That's a really, really important distinction between a lot of women who have hosted events and they're like, well, I hosted these events, but I didn't actually get any, traction, or there was barely anyone that registered for it or whatever. It's like, okay, well, how many of your speakers actually promoted to their email lists? And social, I'm going to tell you right now, the majority of people that I have had on my summits, if they send one email to their list, it is far more effective than 8 social media posts. So what I say to my speakers is, hey, I just want to run the promo requirements by you to make sure that's okay. And does that fit with your marketing calendar? Because a lot of women are very scheduled. So they know 6 months in advance exactly what they're going to be promoting or doing or launching at that time. So you really want to make sure that that fits for their schedule, because it's not fair. It's literally, that's just the way it is. If they aren't able to promote to their list, because the other girls are going to promote to theirs. And so everybody's supposed to cross-pollinate audiences. So if one person only brings in 2 registrants and another brings in 30, then that's not really fair for the one that brought 30 to the table, right? So I always make sure that in that script, one of the really important things, once you're actually talking to a speaker, I like to get them on a speaker connection call. It's only 15 minutes, and it's just to go a little deeper into details if they've said they're interested. So if you're interested in that, let me know if you would like to come. I'm going to launch a new program called Audience Authority, and it's how to grow a targeted audience quickly using collaborative events. It's exactly what we're talking about this week, except a lot more in depth. And you'll get my scripts and all of the things that I do to reach out, and then you'll obviously be able to ask me questions. But don't forget, this week I will be coaching for free in the DMs. So if you have questions, get into the DMs. This is Friday, so hit me up today or this weekend and let me know what you're struggling with, or if you have questions about how this could work for you in your specific area, in your field of expertise, in your niche, all that kind of stuff. So I think the key to finding speakers is to go, first of all, know who your ideal client is. We talked about that yesterday, who you really want to be pulling in. That's why the topic is so key, because you want to pull the audience that actually, 2 steps later would want to work with you. And it's got to be similar or complementary to the other speakers, because they also want to come in and make sure that there's bang for their buck for the time that they're putting in, right? So if you're pulling in, a whole group of business coaches, are you pulling in the ones who are catering towards beginners, or the ones who are catering towards scaling, or the ones who are, helping 7-figure earners? Because those are very different audiences, very different coaches, very different speakers, and the topics will be very different, the way you approach them. Same thing with let's go back to the food analogy. If you wanted to be pulling in people because you have this great Indonesian food, I keep using that as an example. Are you going to be pulling somebody? Let's just use this random example. So let's say that we're into high-end culinary experiences. This is the New York foodie scene again, right? That we talked about on day 1. Are you going to be pulling in speakers who cater to fast food lovers? So McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, if you're in the States, Carl's Jr., what else do you guys have there? In-N-Out Burger, all the chains, McDonald's, everybody knows. So are you bringing in the McDonald's crowd if you're trying to sell the high-end luxury Indonesian cuisine experience? You know what I mean? So you have to be really strategic about who you're partnering with. You want the Italian food, the steakhouse food, the Mediterranean style cuisine. Like, you want the higher end people that all complement each other with the audiences that they're going to bring, so that it makes sense that those people would potentially take next steps with you down the road. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So now you have to go online and do a little homework, pretend you're a little detective, and have fun with this part. So what I like to do personally is I will go and I will stalk people in Instagram. And I don't mean like stalk them in their DMs. I mean, like, I'll go take a look at their profile. I'll take a look at how active they are on their social media. And then I will go and see if their links lead somewhere that is a lead magnet. So do they send a lot of people to free downloads on their site, or do they send people to their website where there's downloadable things there? Like, you'll know the difference between someone that has a following that's always saying just DM me versus somebody who's like, register for this event, grab the free download if you want help with this, blah, 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 blah. So you want somebody, honestly, that has an email list. Now, there's a lot of controversy in our industry about whether you should ask someone the size of their list or not. Some people think it's super rude, and some people think, well, if I'm doing all the work to host this event, I need to make sure that it's A, worth it for me and my time, but also B, it's worth it, to know that all the other speakers are getting an equal exposure, I guess you could say. So what I mean by that is, if you invite one person that has 20,000 people on their email list, and then you invite 5 other speakers that only have 100 or no email list, is that really fair for that person? So personally, for me, I like to try to keep it as even as possible. And there's always going to be exceptions. Sometimes you can't fill it with people that have large audiences. Or sometimes you only have 4 speakers that have a large audience, and then you have 2 who are up and comers who have a very active following that you think would be a great fit for that topic, right? But I think at the end of the day, it's a personal preference, and I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Just like in the DM strategy, lots of us don't like cold pitching in the DMs because we don't like the feel of doing it and we don't like the feel of receiving it. But one of my favorite people to follow, Ryan Dowdy, just posted yesterday. She was like, just because you hate cold reach outs doesn't mean they don't work. There are multi-million-dollar industries out there that are run by cold outreach on social media. So she's like, stop wasting your time knocking it. And I thought, yeah, fair enough. You don't have to figure out what the one strategy is that works for the whole world. You just have to find the strategy that works the best for you. So same goes for finding speakers. If you feel really strongly that you want to call in people that have 5,000 people on their email list or higher, then you make sure that you do that up front. Another way to do that would be to go into Facebook groups and say, hey, I'm hosting a collaborative event on XYZ topic, looking for speakers, list size requirement 5,000 plus. This is how you could frame it. Please send me your recommendations. And people will literally recommend people that they think that have a large enough audience for that. So you don't have to be the one that just does the cold outreach on your own. You can also go into some groups that you're a part of. The other thing that I love to do if I'm looking for speakers for my summits is I'll go and look at Facebook groups and see who the owners are of those Facebook groups. So there's tons of coaching groups out there for female entrepreneurs or mompreneurs or ambitious, females. And so I'll go look at who is the owner of that Facebook group, because most of us ask for an email on the way into a Facebook group. And most people who are growing a Facebook group have a whole system behind that framework. That's just like a piece of their puzzle that they use for nurture and convert. So I will go and look at, if you were in the foodie world, let's say again, then you would go and check out like who's running like, what would be some good examples? I don't know. In the foodie scene, there must be Facebook groups that you're a part of that's like, Foodie New York or Italian, I don't know. It's not my niche, but you know what I mean. So what is your niche? What is your specialty? What is your field of expertise? And then what would be complementary people who would have Facebook groups around that topic? And then you can go reach out to them personally. Just say, hey, I'm hosting an event coming up. I would love to know if you would love to connect and possibly be a speaker. It's going to be 30-minute interviews. It's a live event. It's happening January 25th. Let me know if you're interested and I'll send you more details. It's as simple as that. And don't forget that when you're DMing people, especially people who are big on social media, the first 4 words that you use in your text message or in your DM is going to determine whether they even open your DM and see it or not. So you really want to make sure that you say something like, I love that you, or I'd love to ask you about, or you'd be perfect, or it depends on who you're reaching out to, but just don't forget that you need to test out your first line of your DMs a little bit and just say, because I've had so many big fish who have audiences of 10,000 plus who have said, I don't usually even open my DMs, but something about the way you approached me made me open it. And it's kind of cool when you have that, because it just means that, you know, you're in sync and it's meant to work out. And most of them ended up coming on my summits and they bring their audiences and it's amazing. Now, does somebody that comes and speaks bring 10,000 people just because they have 10,000 people on their list? No, obviously not. They have a certain open rate, just like any of us. So there's going to be, let's say, roughly 30% of people that open the big lists. And then there's going to be a click-through rate. So that means of that 30%, there's only going to be 1 to 3% of those that are actually going to click through and register for your event. So that's like industry norms. If you have something that's even more, like got an even more engaged list, or somebody that's got a brand new list that's really up and coming, then those rates will probably be higher. But for the majority of lists out there, it's going to be a 1 to 3% click-through rate on their list. So that means that most of your speakers, especially if you're not tagging these higher lists, audience sizes, if you're starting a little lower, nothing wrong with that. Let's say that you have people coming in that have 1,000 people on their email list, but they're pretty active. So each person brings in 10 people and you have 6 speakers, plus you promoted it to your own community. Now you have at least, remember I talked about this a few times, you have at least 50 people coming to your event. And if you are looking to build relationships and you're looking for high ticket sales, then 50 new leads coming in on a registration for an event that you're hosting is amazing, because you can ask them for their social handle and then you can reach out and say, hey, welcome to my community, or I'm so excited that you registered for this event. Please let me know the number one thing that you're struggling with. Or if you've already asked that question on the way in, you can say, I saw that you were wondering about blah, 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 blah. You know, on my last event, it was like for 6-figure leads in July. A lot of people kept saying, like, how do I stay consistent with my lead generation? Or where do I find the right people? So I would just say something along those lines to them. Hey, I noticed that you mentioned that you're looking to find the right people. Amazing. Like, I'll be sure to ask the girls exactly how they handle that. And then you could even ask a follow-up question if you wanted to start that conversation. Otherwise, it's just a nice reach out. And now you have people in your social media following as well as on your email list. So you get to build both at the same time. Yeah, that was a bit of a tangent, but we have 10 minutes left. So if you have questions on how to reach out and find speakers, one piece of advice I would give you is, this is going to feel really hard at the beginning, and you are going to feel like you're staring at the wall in your house and you're all by yourself all of a sudden. But don't forget that the whole world is at your fingertips if you just start pounding it out, like pound the pavement, you know what I mean? With your thumbs, with your fingers on social media. Go and ask people. There's a total difference between somebody cold pitching you in the DMs to buy something from them and you saying, hey, I love what you're doing for XYZ. I'm hosting an event coming up, a collaborative event. Would you be interested in speaking on XYZ topic? If so, let me know and I'll send more details in the DMs here. And then they'll say yes or no. But it doesn't cost you anything and it doesn't hurt you. So many times we get so worried about, well, what if they say no? Well, what if they don't respond? Well, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, you're not being rude. You're asking if they would like to collaborate. You are creating a win-win for them. So hopefully that makes it seem a little less daunting and scary. But this is the part that I feel like a lot of you, especially with my clients, they get hung up at first on like, well, where am I going to find all these speakers? And for the first couple of weeks, sometimes it feels really hard because you want to pull people to a short interview to really get a feel for them and to meet them and to see if they're a good fit for you too, because you don't want to have people coming on your summit that are like dry and vanilla and you're like pulling teeth to try to get them to answer a question. You want somebody that's fluid, that flows with you and is passionate about what you're passionate about too, right? Or passionate about that topic in some other angle, in some other way. And it's really neat once you start to build that, because like I said, you start hosting a lot of those events yourself. And all of a sudden you start to, some of my biz besties, absolute best friends online, have come from summits that I've hosted. And now I'm on theirs all the time. And now we cross-pollinate back and forth. And a lot of us has very similar audiences. I had Kylie reach out to me yesterday and she goes, I know that we're like super similar with our ideal clients and what we're teaching right now, but like, let's still collab together. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. Because her and I have very different energies and very different styles. So we both teach people how to grow audiences and email lists. But at the end of the day, her approach to it is very different than mine. And that's great because that means we both bring our audiences, and whoever that they resonate with most, that's the person they should go and get help with, or that's the person they should enter into a program or a coaching container with. It's not about whether one person is better than the other. It's about whether somebody is better for you. You know what I mean? So the same thing is going to happen for you. If you're collaborating with 5 or 6 other women in your space, it's not about who's the best and who's the most experienced and who has the perfect answer. It's about who resonates, which clients, which audience members resonate best with you, because that's the person that's going to help them take real action. And that's how you get results, obviously. So collaboration over competition every time. It wins every time, I'm telling you. So, okay, I have 7 minutes left. If you have any questions, please let me know. Just like I said, don't forget to jump into my DMs this weekend and I will help coach you for free in the DMs. If you would like help or more information on how to host your first couple of events, Audience Authority is going to be launching in February here. So you can even get in early and get started early if you'd like. But basically what I'm going to do is it's going to be 90 days, so 3 months. And we're going to help you map out and execute your first 2 collaborative events. So I'm going to do everything from help you design your title and tagline, the type of event you want to host, all the back end stuff, how to reach out to your speakers. I'm going to be there as a sounding board to walk you through that process, help you with your messaging for exactly how you want to, reach out, or, hey, Mare, what would you say if somebody said this to you? Like all that, I'm available for that. I got to get you over that first hump, because if I can get you to do your first 2 events, this is what I've seen with my clients, then you start to fly and you can just rinse and repeat, because now you've built your own template for the way you like to approach things, the way you like to host an event. Maybe the first one you hosted was 2-day live event and you didn't really like that it was 2 days, and then you want to try a 1 day, or maybe you tried a live and now you want to try a pre-recorded. There's so many variables, but don't get bogged down with that. But I gotta stress, the sooner you host some virtual events that are collaborative and other people bring their audiences into your world, the sooner you're going to have momentum and traction. And then you won't hear crickets all the time when you're posting anymore. You will literally see the momentum build, your confidence builds, and then you'll know if your messaging and your offers and everything is working. Because right now you don't even know that. You keep going back to the drawing board. I know you, I see you, I've been you. You go back to the drawing board constantly because you're like, I don't know, am I not talking to the right person? Is my content not converting? Like, what's going on here? I just keep hearing crickets. I feel like I'm doing all the things, but it's just not working. But what if you had the right people watching you? Then you would know if all of those keys to success are actually working, because you'd have a door to open with them. You know what I mean? So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that makes sense. Sometimes I go on these like analogies and tangents in my head and I think they make sense. My husband thinks I'm nuts, but I think most of you guys get it. My ambitious mom community usually totally understands the tangents, right? We like to move fast. We just like to work smarter, not harder. So hosting collaborative events is going to get the right people into your audience very quickly, I promise. And that means your sales is going to start picking up so much sooner. So if you want help, drop me a DM that says authority and I will chat with you about whether this is going to be a fit for you. It's going to be 3-month intensive. You are going to host 2 virtual events, collaborative events in that time. So we're going to put them at 60 days and 90 days out, approximately, whatever dates work for your calendar. And then we're going to fill those events with speakers. I'm going to teach you how to ask for the promo requirements. I'm going to teach you how to put together a promo package to send out to your speakers ahead of time. I'm going to teach you how to send out the calendar invites with the proper Zoom links so that it all runs really smoothly the day of and you don't even have to worry about it. If you would like to start a Facebook group, you can definitely do that with these events. I mean, why not? It's so powerful. And then I want this for you so badly, because if you start rinsing and repeating these things, you start to get exposure on other people's shows, other people's summits, other people's podcasts. And all of a sudden, this visibility and this reach that's going to help you match your vision, it starts to actually pick up and move. And so there's like a tipping point, but you just got to kickstart it. And that's what these collaborative events do. So if you want to host your first 2 events in the next 90 days, drop me a DM that says authority and I will give you the details. Okay. I'm still under time. I'm so proud of myself. Okay. Have a great weekend, ladies. Don't forget to hit me in the DMs if you have questions or want some coaching this weekend, just on general things that we've covered this week. Happy to help. And yeah, I hope this has inspired you, and I hope that you can see how this missing link is not about you, and it's not about the fact that you don't create good content. It's not about people don't want what you have. It's not about that you don't know what you're doing. It's just about the fact that you don't have enough eyeballs on your stuff. So let's get you some targeted audience build. So the right people in your audience in the next 90 days. And go. Have a great weekend. Cheers.